So today, our friend Corey, who is visiting from San Francisco, and Sarah and I wanted to talk about what sex positivity means to us and why we are part of the sex positive movement. So first, what does sex positivity mean to you?
I was raised very much like not to talk about sex, not to talk about that sort of thing. I feel like the culture surrounding sex is very sex negative, and I was in Christian schools, so like I've never had a sex ed class. Everything I learned is from peers and from life, and that's not necessarily the right way to learn things. And so it's very important to me that sex positivity is a thing, because I think that you make better decisions when you know what sex is, as opposed to when you just have this like vague idea.
I think that sex positivity to me just means truly embracing what we are as human beings. We have basic animalistic sexual natures, and that's something that's built into us intrinsically, and we want to propagate, we want to go out and express this among ourselves, and being sex positive about that is just being open and saying, yes, I am a human being, I have needs, I want to have sex, and let's all acknowledge that as a society,
And that's okay.
Yeah, and we can be a lot more informed about it and happy if we're all talking about it.
Right. I was raised in the context of a very conservative Christian upbringing. I was homeschooled my entire life, and so sex positivity for me is, like you said, a departure from a lot of what I was taught growing up. And the reason that it's a departure is because I've seen the damage that sex negativity can do. The depression and the repression that comes from not being able to talk about sex. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to talk to anyone and everyone about everything I do in bed, but that does mean that if someone wants to talk about sex, I'm not going to shy away from it. And in platforms like this, on YouTube, talking to you guys, we have the opportunity to talk about sex in a more frank manner, right, with people who want to watch that, right? And so we have the opportunity to try and demystify sex a little bit, so it's less of a fear and more of something that's respected for the power that it holds. What I equate it to is the way that German children deal with alcohol. Here in the US, we turn 21 and it's like this binge drinking episode where it's like, I'm 21, finally I can drink fucking alcohol, right? Even though most people have been drinking before they're 21. Well, in Germany, the drinking age there is like, I think 15. And the reason it's so young is because that way the parents can teach their kids very early on how to deal with alcohol, the power that alcohol has over them, and allow them the opportunity to learn within the context of the home, so that then when they go out and drink, they're not binge drinking the way that we are here, because it's not taboo. We're able to deal with it responsibly, and that's how I feel like sex is that we really have to be able to deal with it responsibly.
I feel like with girls too, because like men talk about sex, I feel like much more often than girls do, especially young girls. Like young girls do not acknowledge it. And so the things that you learn about sex are so clouded in this veil of shame and bad things that when you become the age that you could be having sex or that you are having sex, the bad things almost seem correct. So I think that the sexual relationships that aren't entirely healthy almost seem like the right kind of sexual relationship, because you don't know that there is good sex. Healthy sex between people who know what's up and are on the same page about what's going on.
Right.
Well, and on the same note, being a gay man, when you're in a gay relationship, you have two people that are allowed to be, by society, more sexual than women. And so you have to understand what sex means to you, and the only way to do that is to talk about it, to really have open conversations about that with people that you trust and people that you know, so that you can understand how sex is, functioning in your own mind before you engage in it in a way that's unsafe or unhealthy.
But as a society, we're going to have to allow that acceptance of sex so that you're hearing about these things from the proper people.
Exactly.
You should be hearing and you should be learning about sex, at school, from your parents, from
people that you respect. I feel like you should be learning about sex from people you respect.
Where you're getting the same responsible ideas about life and morality.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can have a sense of morality in your sex life as well. And that's something that's important, but it's never going to happen unless we become more sex positive.